Right, I'm assuming screenshots have been taken. So my first question to you guys, and you can raise a hand, you can put it in the chat. What is a quadrilateral? When I say quadrilateral, what am I talking about? Okay, I see hands already. Now, lady, tell me, what is a quad or quadrilateral?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, a quadrilateral, ma'am, is a it's a shape with all 4 equal sides.
Okay, so what specific type of what specific type of quadrilateral would have 4 equal sides?
Ma'am, I think something like a rhombus or a quad, no, a rhombus or an equilateral, no, not equilateral, ma'am, I forgot the other one, but a rhombus.
Okay, cool. So keep that in mind when we get to rhombi. I have to like figure out all my words. So the first thing that we know about quadrilaterals is that they are closed 4-sided shapes. Okay, as was just said, it's got 4 sides. Now, when I say closed, all I mean by that is that there's no like sides that don't join with each other. Sorry, I keep knocking my table. All of the vertices meet up and form this closed shape. Okay. What else do we know about quadrilaterals? Justin, have you got something else to tell me?
Yes, my quadrilaterals are squares.
Okay, perfect. So one of the quadrilaterals that we are going to chat about today is going to be a square, and so hold on to all your square properties. We'll get to squares and you can share more about squares then, but squares are definitely quadrilaterals. Right, the other thing we need to know, oh, we've got some more hands. So sorry guys, I didn't see all the hands. Rejo, tell me something else. Or can you tell me something else rather?
All angles in a quadrilateral add up to 360 degrees.
Nice. Okay. So guys, another property of quads is that all 4 interior angles, so all 4 angles inside the quad add up to 360 degrees. Oh gosh, add up to. Now these 2 characteristics that we've written down are the 2 basic characteristics of any quad. So every single quadrilateral that you work with, these 2 things will apply. When we start to now talk about more specific quadrilaterals, there will be specific characteristics for those specific quads, but these 2 are the basic ones that will apply to any 4-sided shape. Okay, so that is just a basic sort of, this is what a quad is. We're now going to have a look at specific quadrilaterals. Naledi, do you have a question?
No, ma'am, I wanted to add another property. Like another property would be like all sides in a quadrilateral are parallel to each other.
Okay, so right now we've got like a basic quad. When we start to look at more specific quads, that will be one of the ones that we'll have a look at. So hang on to that characteristic, okay? We'll get to it.
Yes, ma'am.
Cool. Okay, guys, so let's do exactly that. Let's now start looking at some specific quads. Take your screenshot if you haven't. Hopefully we got it down there. There wasn't too much to write down there. Let's have a look at some specifics. So the first ones we're going to have a look at are trapezoids. You might have heard of these referred to as trapeziums. So again, my question to you is, can anyone tell me anything about trapeziums? Anything at all? You can pop it in the chat. You're welcome to raise a hand. Oh, golly. Oh, nice. Rebitswe, tell me something.
Ma'am, hi, ma'am.
Hi.
The opposite sides are parallel to each other.
Perfect. Okay, so guys, one of the defining characteristics of a trapezium is that we've got one pair of parallel sides. Now, again, I am going to use the symbols as I start to write things down just because it's going to save time, but just remember those 2 lines mean parallel. And it's only one pair, so only those 2 sides are parallel to each other. Right, so this is now where those specific characteristics are going to start coming in. Okay, they definitely have unequal sides, unless we're going to talk specifically about a special type of trapezium, which, if someone can maybe tell me, is this trapezium down here? Hands up or put it in the chat. What specific type of trapezium is the second one over there? Pat, can you tell me? Oh, no, sorry. So many things happened. Naledi, what specific type of trapezium is that?
I think it's a parallelogram.
Not quite, close to, but not quite. It's not a parallelogram because I still only have one pair of opposite sides parallel. If it's a parallelogram, I need both pairs of opposite sides parallel. But we're going to get to parallelograms.
Getting them a pib. Ooh, I see a lot of hands. Pat,
Okay.
would you like to answer? Pat, are you like me? The network is disappointing you.
Let's come.
Hello, ma'am.
Ah.
Hello.
Hi, can hear you.
Ma'am, it's George, by the way.
It's sorry?
It's George, by the way. I'm using my mom's account because I have
Okay.
an issue with my other account.
Oh no. Okay, cool. Tell us.
I think it's an isosceles. Isosceles trapezium.
Yes. Well done. Okay, so guys, this is an isosceles trapezium. Now, we have seen the word isosceles before. Either you've seen it with me or hopefully you've seen it in class somewhere. Isosceles we've seen before in the context of triangles. And so what this means is that we still have the one pair of sides parallel, but we also now have one pair of sides equal. So the ones that aren't parallel to each other are actually equal in length. One pair of, sorry, my writing is not great. It will get better, I promise. So these two sides that are not parallel to each other are actually equal in length to each other. So we use isosceles trapeziums more than just like a basic trapezium. So it is important to know that an isosceles trapezium has those two equal sides, but essentially one pair of parallel sides, one pair of equal sides. That's what we're working with in trapezoids or in trapeziums. All right, so take your screenshots and let's have a look now at our next quad. And we're just going to keep getting like more and more specific as we work through these quads. Right. Okay. So our next one that we've got is a kite. So hands up in the chat. Tell me anything about a kite. Anything you would like to share. Oh, you know, anything you want to share about a kite. You let me know. Sorry, my notes have just decided to go small. Okay. Onele, tell me something.
Ma'am, a kite has two pairs of adjacent sides that are equal.
Perfect. Okay, I'm going to start with that. So we've got two pairs of adjacent sides equal. Now there's quite a lot to unpack here, so that's why I'm going to start with this one, adjacent. Okay. Firstly, adjacent means next to. So sides that are next to each other are equal in length. Now it's not just any ones that we decide. We have to actually either go and have it given to us or go and show that the lengths are equal. But basically, as long as the sides are next to each other and are equal in length, we can put like that indication on. So two pairs of adjacent sides are equal. And we show that with those little like strike marks on the sides. Awesome. Okay, so that's one characteristic of a kite. It's one of the ways we can identify something as a kite if the sides next to each other are equal. Oh, we've got so many hands. All right, who have I not asked? Sibenzile, tell me another characteristic of a kite.
One pair of opposite angles are equal.
Perfect. Okay. one pair of opposite angles are equal. Now, these angles are specifically the ones that are between two unequal sides. So this side and this side are unequal to each other. So the angle created between them and the angle on the other side, those are the angles that are equal to each other. So I'm using a little circle to indicate that. Guys, essentially everything that we're talking about here is if you were going to, I don't know, prove that a quadrilateral is a kite, or prove that it is a parallelogram, or whatever it is that you're wanting to prove. These would be the reasons that you would use. So what we're essentially talking about here are characteristics that will eventually become reasons as you get more and more into geometry. Okay, so we're not actually like working anything out here right now. We're just having a conversation about what makes a kite and what makes a parallelogram a parallelogram. Alrighty. Okay, Roberto, can you tell me something else about a kite?
Ma'am, the diagonals intersect at 90 degrees.
Nice, and I'm really liking the language that we're using there. Okay, so diagonals. Let's first chat about what are diagonals. Diagonals are lines drawn from one vertex to the opposite vertex. So basically they cut our quadrilateral in half. Okay, so the statement here was that the diagonals intersect, so cross each other or cut each other at 90 degrees. And so if we go to the point where they cross, we can indicate that with that little block that we know represents a 90-degree angle. So I've done it in red there just that we can see the difference that we're working with. Our diagonals intersect at 90 degrees. All right, Tefo, have you got something else for me?
Hey, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, the shorter diagonal is bisected by the longer diagonal.
Nice. Okay, so I'm going to keep it in red. One of my diagonals, only one, is bisected. Sure. One diagonal. And as Tefo has now specifically said, it is generally the longer diagonal cutting the shorter one in half. So one diagonal is bisected. Now, guys, bisect means cut exactly in half. So if we go to our diagram, this diagonal, so the shorter one, is cut exactly in half by the longer one. So that's another characteristic that we have of our kite. Awesome. Nice. So what else do we have? There's a couple more characteristics. These are the really important ones. So as long as we know these, we should be okay. We do have a couple more, but let's see. Pat, no, not Pat, George.
Teacher Sam, you're good with names than I am.
It's because I'm a teacher. I'm usually shocking at names, but
Oh, nice.
students, I can learn quick.
Wow.
But ask me someone in a social setting, no idea. Yes, I'm ready.
Ma'am, can you view a kite as a ma'am, can you view a kite as a pair of congruent triangles?
Ooh, you definitely can. We are not going to talk about congruency at this point in time, but I really like your thinking, and yes, you definitely can.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good.
Take
Okay.
screenshots, my babes. Take
Right.
screenshots. These are really good notes. I'm liking it.
The only other one that I'm going to mention, not something you have to stress too much about, is the fact that our one diagonal bisects opposite angles, and it's generally the longer one. So it cuts the opposite angles in half. So what I mean by that is the fact that the angles at the top here are cut in half and the angles at the bottom here are cut in half. So that diagonal cuts them exactly in half. Not a super important characteristic, but it is one. So let's have it down just so that we know it. All right. just very quickly, just because I saw something come up on the chat about load shedding, guys, remember, if you are load shedded or if you lose connection or whatever happens, we completely understand. Remember, everything is recorded, so you can go and get the videos online within 24 hours, and we get it. Like, there is no stress at all if you are having to leave a meeting because of load shedding. We understand it's just the reality currently. Just make sure you go and watch the video if you need to. Alrighty, cool. Kites, like, not one that comes up that often, very similar to trapeziums, not ones we deal with often, but ones that can come up. And so let's just know what we're doing. The ones that do come up more are the next four that we're going to chat about. So let's chat about the parallelogram, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll finish off with our last three. So take your screenshot. While you're taking a screenshot, if anyone wants to start putting in the chat or raising their hand, anything they know about a parallelogram, whatever your heart desires. What can you tell us about parallelograms? Okay. Oh, lovely. Love when we've got hands. Palesa, tell me something.
Okay, ma'am. So I'll start with what is a parallelogram, ma'am.
Okay.
So it's a quadrilateral with both pairs of opposite sides that are parallel.
Good. Okay. So
and then
yeah.
And then, ma'am, opposite sides are equal, and two pairs of opposite parallel sides. It has two
Good.
pairs of opposite parallel sides.
Good. Okay, so I'm going to try to put all of this into one statement. Both pairs of opposite sides are parallel and equal. Okay, so, and this is, as Palesa says, like a defining characteristic of what a parallelogram is. If we have got a quadrilateral where both pairs of opposite sides are parallel and equal, then what we have is a parallelogram. Okay, awesome, Palesa, thank you.
Welcome, ma'am.
Right, now guys, there are more characteristics, so we're going to chat about this in a second. I just want to put this on the diagram. So those two sides are parallel, but they're also equal to each other. And the other pair of opposite sides are also parallel and equal to each other. Okay, so that is one of the defining characteristics of a parallelogram. And so, oh, golly, I don't know why I keep doing this. I'm so sorry. And so whenever we've got a quad where we can see this happening, we have a parallelogram. Okay. Oh gosh, sorry. Things stopped working there for a second. Right, what other characteristics of a parallelogram do I have? Cindy, tell me.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, the opposite angles are equal to each other.
Excellent. Right. Opposite angles are equal, which means that this angle is equal to this angle, and that angle is equal to that angle. The opposite angles in our parallelogram are equal. Remember, a basic quadrilateral property is that if I add them all up, I'll get 360. So that still applies here because it's a quad. But more specifically, my opposite angles are indeed equal to each other. Okay, awesome, Cindy. Thank you. Well done. Therefore, have you got something else for us?
Diagonals bisect each other.
Awesome. Right, another, and this is also going to be a really important characteristic that we're going to work with. So this is definitely one to maybe put a little star or highlight or something. The diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other. So basically, the two diagonals cut each other in half. So remember, the diagonals are lines drawn from opposite corners. Now, these diagonals aren't equal to each other, but they cut each other in half. So this half would be equal to this half, and this half equal to that half. They cut each other in half. They bisect each other. Right, and like I said, this is one of the really important characteristics of a parallelogram. And we're going to refer to it again and again and again, especially when we start to do more geometry. So like I say, definitely one I'd put a little star next to or highlight or something to remember. Okay. Right, guys, and that is sort of your characteristics of the parallelogram. The defining thing is that you've got both pairs of opposite sides are both parallel and equal. Your opposite angles are equal, and the diagonals cut each other in half. That will give you, or that is a parallelogram that we're working with. Okay. Right, take your screenshot, and then we're going to take a quick break. You guys are, I know this is a lot of information, but this is why just keep contributing, keep popping on the chat, hands up. You got it. Okay. Someone is not on mute, and I don't know who it is.
I got them. I got them. Remember, guys, if you do answer a question, just make sure you mute first before you can lower your hand. Because once you lower your hand, I cannot find you. It's a little bit difficult to find you, but y'all are doing really great. Well, Pibs, you're doing really well.
Okay, guys, there is your brain break. Remember, if you don't get it, that's cool. Give it a try. This one isn't very mathy. It's more like the brain teaser sort of thing. That's why I labeled it brain teaser. Brain teaser for the week.
Teaser. Definitely. Love it though. It's very nice.
Okay,
Let's
so
go, guys. Let's see how many of them you'll get out of 5. Let's see. So you must count, okay? Let's go. Let's go. Let's do this.
right, and if you can give us an answer, like Yolanda says, please put your hand up or pop it in the chat.
Secure. Sorry, I think
No.
Secure wants to answer.
Awesome.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, number 1 is tricycle.
Nice.
Well done. And you got number 1. Guys, are you counting? Any one of you who have tried, please do mark yourself. I want to see how many you get out of 5.
Right, so exactly, number 1, tricycle. Very good.
Secure, don't forget to mute yourself, Miguel. Mute yourself. Kelly, do you have an answer? Ooh, Kelly disappeared. Kelly, have an answer for us?
Ma'am, I think 2 is reading between the lines.
Nice.
Ooh, yeah, I get it. This
Reading. You're much better than I am. I have to Google all of these.
We have a clue. You know, these kids are so fast.
I know.
Lolita, what do
Afternoon.
you have?
Hi.
I think it's apple pie because the numbers of pi are in an apple.
Well done. So
Well
number
done,
5
you nailed
is
it.
apple pie, because exactly as you said, pi is 3.1415926 blah blah blah, and it's in an apple, so apple pie. Well done.
Just didn't have an answer. Well done, well done.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
So, ma'am, no, I don't want to answer, ma'am. It's just not to be rude, nah. But when in my life am I going to use geometry? Like in what jobs? You know.
The skills that maths teaches you are more important than the content. Some of the stuff you will use in life, and it will be in very specific jobs. So things like measurement and working with angles and stuff like that. If you become an architect, or if you plan on doing anything to do with like astronomy and space and stuff like that, then those things do come in. So whilst you'll probably never be asked to give me the characteristics of a parallelogram, understanding relationships and being able to like solve problems is super important. And that's what maths teaches you. So no, you probably are never going to be asked, Justin, what are the properties of a parallelogram? But the fact that you are able to problem solve and work through problems and analyze problems, which is a skill that maths and something like science teaches you, those are the skills that's important.
Oh, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Sure.
That's what. That's it.
Oh.
Okay, so my tips, I think just I already saw some of the answers, yeah? I'm just gonna
Okay.
read them like this, we can be fine. So number 3, Theo says is Robin Hood.
Nice.
You
Well
got
done.
it. And Naledi, you are so close. Naledi for number 4 says million. Naledi, you need to look at it very, very close. You are so close. We're not gonna give the answer yet. Maybe someone might have. Oh, Theo got number 4, my pibs. 1 in a million.
Nice.
Well done, my pibs.
Okay, guys, well done. I'm very impressed because I can't do these very well.
And Theo is looking for a cat.
If they come to the door, Theo, I will let them in. They were being very naughty earlier, so they got a bit of a talking to. But they'll come back.
Don't understand. Got a punishment not to get inside the room.
They were just causing absolute chaos. They were in my folder. The one was like under the duvet. I just was like, no, we're not doing this. I'll call them for you. How's about that before we move on?
Guys, you see the joke there? I hope all of you read the joke. Minenhle, this teaser was teasing Mugao or Mugai. It was teasing. I agree with you.
Guys, like I promise you, I struggle with these things, so don't worry if you struggled.
Yeah, Ingelinhle is like 2 out of
Yes,
5.
I'm getting cats
Ingelinhle, at
handed
least
to
you
me.
got marks. Ingelinhle, at least you got marks. So that's
Exactly.
good. 2 out of 5 is not so bad.
No. Here's our one cat. This is Bagheera. She's very small. She's a bit of a moody teenager at the moment. I don't know where my other baby is, but he's somewhere. Alrighty. He might come in. We'll see. You might get 2 cats. Okay, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the bus joke, because no one's appreciated my bus joke yet. Oh, there's the other one. There we go. Now we've all got cats. Okay, right. Let us do some maths. We've become distracted. Alrighty. So we spoke about parallelograms. Let us chat now about rectangles. So if anyone has anything that they can tell me about a rectangle, pop your hand up, pop it in the chat. Let's see. Now there's cat here. Oh, madness. Okay, I'm seeing hands. Let's go. Sorry, everyone. Amiki, tell me something about a rectangle.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
The opposite sides are parallel and equal to each other.
Good. Okay, so both pairs, of opposite sides are equal and parallel. Now, guys, this is the same as what we spoke about in a parallelogram, right? That was the very first thing we wrote down for parallelograms. And this is because rectangles are just special types of parallelograms. So all of the characteristics that we have for parallelograms also apply to rectangles. So there are my opposite sides being parallel and equal to each other. Okay, nice, thank you. Who else have we got? Oh, so many hands. Rejo, tell me something else.
Both of the diagonals are equal in length.
Nice. Okay, so let's pick another color here. The 2 diagonals. Oh, guys, I'm sorry. My diagonals tonight are not great. The 2 diagonals that we have in a rectangle are equal in length. And remember I said that because it is a parallelogram, the properties of a parallelogram also apply. So they also bisect each other. So not only are they equal, but they also bisect each other. So they cut each other in half. So because they're all equal in length, it actually means that all of the like halves of my diagonals are exactly the same, because if both diagonals are equal in length and then get cut in half, all of those halves are the same. Alrighty, therefore, have you got something else for me?
Ma'am, corner angles are equal in 90 degrees.
Good, nice. Okay, so all 4 interior angles are 90 degrees. Right, now guys, remember we can represent that using our little square symbol. So we just draw our little square in all of the interior angles to show that they are 90 degrees. Now, this is one of the ways that we know we're working with a rectangle, is if those interior angles are 90 degrees. We know that that also applies to a square, but we can then be more specific with the square, and we'll chat about that in a second. Right, but I'm really liking these reasons. I just want to double check we haven't forgotten anything. No, awesome. So these are my defining characteristics of a rectangle. The new one here that is in addition to the parallelogram characteristics are the fact that the diagonals are equal to each other and the fact that the interior angles are 90 degrees. Alrighty, take your screenshots. I just want to put on a jersey.
Guys, take screenshots at those questions. I see Naledi, I see Pat, I see Queen. So I'm just gonna take, these are questions, I'm just gonna unmute you guys, okay? Queen, I'm gonna start with you. Do you have a question?
Ma'am, can I add on to that? So ma'am, I say that also the properties of a rectangle is that they're perpendicular. I don't know if you wrote the same thing.
Okay, so we can so when you say perpendicular, do you mean that like the 2 adjacent sides are perpendicular?
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. So guys, if that's the way you're learning the 90-degree angles, that's fine. So basically what that means is that you've got 2 sides that are perpendicular to each other. Oh, that just was shocking. And all that means is that we've got that 90-degree angle. And so what that means is all of the interior angles are 90. If that's the way you're learning it, don't stress. It's the same thing as saying all interior angles are 90 degrees.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Well done. Okay. Pat, do you have a question? Oh, no, not Pat, George.
Ma'am, could I also say that the 2 sides of each vertex meet at a right angle?
Yes, absolutely. Cool. Okay, guys. So those are rectangles. Take your screenshot if you need to, and we're going to move on to our next one, which is the rhombus. Cool. Moving on. So I've said rhombi here. That's the plural. The singular is rhombus. So if you want to write that down, that's how you would spell it. So 1 rhombus, many rhombi. Okay, so again, hands up, pop it in the chat, whichever you are more comfortable with. What are some of the properties of a rhombus? Kiwa, sorry, tell me something about a rhombus.
Ma'am, the opposite sides of a rhombus are parallel and all sides are equal.
Nice. Okay, good. So I'm going to split those 2 up, mostly because the 4 sides equal is now a special property of a rhombus. So I just want to deal with them separately. So we've got both pairs of opposite sides parallel. And this was the same for a parallelogram, which makes sense because a rhombus is a special type of parallelogram. Both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. Sorry, I have to sometimes talk and write. There we go. And all four sides are equal. And this is now one of the defining characteristics of a rhombus. When those four sides are equal, we're starting to work with a rhombus. We can then get more specific and start to work with a square, but we'll get to that in a second. Both pairs of opposite sides parallel, and all four sides are equal. Right, there are some other characteristics. I've seen a couple on the chat. Let's see some hands. Oh. Naleli, tell me something else.
Sorry, ma'am, I already had an answer, ma'am. You
Okay.
already answered. I forgot to lower my hand.
Okay, no problem. Therefore, tell me.
Ma'am, diagonals bisect each other at 90 degrees.
Good, nice. Okay, so diagonals bisect at 90 degrees. So when we draw in our diagonals, I should have done that in a different color. Oh, now my diagonals are so much better. Oh well. They cut each other in half at 90 degrees. Okay, now again, that is a defining characteristic of a rhombus. If we can show that those diagonals are cutting each other at 90 degrees, it could potentially be a rhombus. So a rhombus is one where all four sides are equal. Parallelogram is where the opposite sides are equal. So a parallelogram, I suppose, would be a slightly longer one. So just so that we can differentiate the two. What other characteristics do I have for my rhombus? Rachel, can you tell me something else?
A rhombus is a parallelogram with one pair of adjacent sides equal in length.
Okay, perfect. Sure, I just had to get my head around all of that. I just want to go to specifically the adjacent sides. Remember, adjacent sides, guys, are the sides next to each other. And that's what we can see here. This side is next to this side and they're equal to each other. And those two sides are equal to each other. And so all of my adjacent sides are equal to each other. Also, very importantly, it is a parallelogram. So all of the characteristics of a parallelogram apply here as well. Okay, very good. I saw something, I think, in the chat. Just want to make sure I haven't missed anything about the opposite angles being equal, which is absolutely correct. So more specifically, if we want to say the diagonals actually also cut the opposite angles in half. So not only are the opposite angles equal to each other, they're also being cut in half by the diagonals. So those two angles are then equal to those two angles, and then those two angles. Oh, sure. I'm also lying to you. My brain's not working today. The opposite angles are equal to each other. Yay.
You're getting there, teacher Savvy, getting there. And Ayabonga, no worries.
Even
Everyone is
worse?
having network problems. Yes.
I literally taught this today, so it should be in my brain.
Like brain shutting off.
Yeah, I literally did it a few hours ago. Okay, so just so that we're all clear, I see that there's a question of explain the first point. So the first point says both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. So basically what that means is that the side at the top is parallel to the side on the bottom, and then the two sides are then parallel to each other. So they run in the same direction as each other. That's what that first point means. And that is a characteristic of both parallelograms, rectangles, and rhombi. Okay, so take your screenshots. Eminently, I am a teacher indeed. This is what I do with my life all day, every day. But I do enjoy teaching. I love teaching maths. It's my favorite thing in the world. Although you sometimes frustrate me. Kids are frustrating sometimes, but I love doing this. And not you frustrate me. My kids that I teach at school frustrate me. Have we screenshotted? White. Let's go. Righto. Squares. Can you tell me anything about squares? Already seen some awesome things on the chats. Guys, you are on it. You know your quads. Lolita, we haven't heard from you yet tonight. I don't think. Can you tell me something about a square?
All 4 interior angles in a square equal 90 degrees.
Awesome. Okay, so all interior angles are 90. Can't spell. Angles are 90 degrees. Now, guys, remember, that is actually the same as a rectangle. So we would need to have another characteristic combined with that to say it's a square. Because right now, if I just told you, oh, you've got a quadrilateral where all the interior angles are 90, it could be a square, but it could also be a rectangle. So just like think about these things that make a square. But a square does indeed have all interior angles at 90 degrees. Okay, Justin, what else about squares? Can you tell me?
Yes, ma'am. They all of the sides are the same length, are the
Good.
same size.
So all 4 sides are equal. Excellent.
Yes.
Good. And that, remember,
And
is yeah.
And also, ma'am, at which school do you teach, ma'am?
I teach in Cape Town, but let's focus on our quads for now. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Right. So guys, all 4 sides are equal. Now that is also the same as a rhombus. But if we combine that with the fact that we've got all interior angles 90 and that all sides are equal, we get our square. So this is what I'm saying is sometimes one characteristic by itself isn't enough to say, yes, this is definitely a square that I'm working with. Sometimes we have to look at multiple characteristics. So in this case, if we've got all 4 sides equal and the interior angles are at 90 degrees, then we're probably working with a square. Right, I'm seeing some other things coming in on the chat, which is awesome. I'm going to get some voices going here to this. So Palesa, tell me something else.
Ma'am, and 2 pairs of opposite sides are parallel to each other.
Okay, so both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. And this is again, same as a parallelogram because a square is a special type of parallelogram.
Yes.
Good, right. So we've got our parallel sides. Parallel, there we go. So we have that. Thank you, Palesa.
Welcome, ma'am.
Right, I'm not seeing any more hands, so I'm going to go to the chat. We've got the fact that the diagonals bisect each other, which I'm loving. I'm going to put it in a different color. So there are my diagonals. It wasn't great. Okay, they're not great diagonals, but they're there nonetheless. So our diagonals, there's quite a few things about our diagonals we need to know. The diagonals are equal. So are equal to each other. And they bisect each other at 90 degrees. So they cut each other in half at a right angle. Okay, so I'm seeing some of that on the chat, which is awesome. So because the diagonals are equal, when I cut them in half, all of the halves will be exactly the same. So all of these halves of my diagonals will be exactly the same because they are equal in length. We've also just said that they cut each other at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so that was a characteristic of, well, the fact that the diagonals are equal is similar to a rectangle. The fact that the diagonals intersect or bisect at 90 degrees, similar to a rhombus. So we can see how all of these characteristics, they're all sort of linked to each other. And they all have these relationships. And this is because all of these quads are sort of related in like a family tree sort of thing. And so we have very similar characteristics sometimes. Okay, so guys, those are the characteristics you need to know. And the only other thing I can sort of add to this is the fact that the diagonals cut the interior angles or bisect the interior angles. So technically, these angles all get cut exactly in half by the diagonals. They're all 45 degrees. I'm going to put it on there. It's not super important to know, but it is a characteristic. So let's just have it just in case. So the diagonals bisect the opposite interior angles. But those are essentially the properties of a square that you need to know. And you guys clearly know your quads because we had some really great answers and some really great characteristics being contributed. So thank you everyone for that.
Yeah, everyone did really good.
All right, so guys, I'm gonna sort of leave it there because like I said, we don't really go into huge depth in terms of quadrilaterals in grade 8. We need to know the characteristics. So we need to know all of the things that we've spoken about today. So take your screenshot of this. Hopefully you've got everything, all your screenshots of the other quads that we did. Yolanda has just posted the link to our quiz, or your quiz rather, on the chat. And remember the quizzes so that you can see how comfortable you're feeling with the section. So it's got the triangles that we've been talking about, and then some of the quad stuff, not a whole lot because the triangles is the more important thing at the moment. But it's so that you can see how comfortable you are with the section and know whether or not you need to go back and rewatch videos and do some more practice, or whether you are comfortable with geometry.